Here's something that might surprise you. The competencies aren't a checklist. They're not 8 things you tick off during a session. In fact, the moment you start thinking, okay, now I need to do competency 5, now I should move to competency 7, you've already lost connection with your client. So if that's not how they work, what is? That's exactly what we're going to explore. I see this happen with coaches all the time, especially early in their development. They've studied the competencies, they've memorized what each one means, and then they walk into a session with this mental scorecard running in the background. Did I demonstrate active listening? Check. Did I evoke awareness? Let me try to do that now. And here's the thing. When your brain is busy running that checklist, where are you? You're in your head. You're not with your client. The competencies were never designed to be sequential steps you work through one by one. There's something far more organic than that. So if they're not a checklist, what are they? Think of the competencies as simultaneous expressions of skilled coaching. In any given moment, a single exchange with your client, multiple competencies are operating at once. They don't take turns. They weave together. They're fluid, interdependent, constantly flowing into one another. When you truly show up as a coach, they emerge naturally, not because you're trying to demonstrate them, but because that's what competent coaching looks like in action. Let me give you an image that might help. Think of a musician playing in an orchestra. When they're truly playing, when they're in the flow of the music, are they thinking, okay, now I read the notes, now I apply technique, now I listen to the other instruments? Of course not. All of it happens at once. Reading, technique, listening, responding, it's integrated. The same is true for coaching. When you're fully present, competent coaching naturally emerges without you having to think about which competency to deploy next. Let me show you what this actually looks like. Imagine you're in a session and your client just shared something significant. In that single moment, that one exchange, here's what's happening. You're maintaining presence by staying fully with them, attentive to what's unfolding right now. You're listening actively, not just to their words, but to the emotion beneath them, to what they're not saying. You're cultivating trust through your undivided attention, through genuinely caring about their process. And when you ask your next question, the one that emerges from everything you're noticing, you're evoking awareness. 4 competencies, 1 moment. That's integration. So here's the shift I want you to make. Stop thinking about doing the competencies and start thinking about embodying them. This is about who you are, not just what you do in sessions. Remember what we talked about in Module 1? The coaching mindset isn't something you put on when you sit down with a client and take off when you leave. It's who you become. The same is true for all 8 competencies. Integration doesn't come from memorizing frameworks. It comes from practice and presence. The more you coach, the more these competencies become part of how you naturally show up. Here's what I want you to remember about your role. You're not there to perform competencies. You're there to hold the process while your client does the work of discovery and growth. Every single competency serves that one purpose, facilitating your client's transformation. Think of that as your North Star. When you keep your eyes on your client's growth, when that's truly what you're focused on, the competencies take care of themselves. You don't have to force them. They flow through you because serving the client is what they're designed to do. Now, let me name some traps I see coaches fall into. First, treating competencies as a sequential checklist. We've talked about that. Second, and this is a big one, trying to demonstrate a competency for an assessor or supervisor rather than actually serving your client. When you're thinking about how to look competent instead of how to help your client, you've lost the plot. Third is overthinking. Analysis paralysis. Your brain gets so busy deciding which competency to use next that you stop being present with what's actually emerging. And fourth, coaching from your head instead of your heart. Mental models and frameworks have their place, but they can't replace genuine presence and connection. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, that's okay. Integration doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen through perfection. It happens through practice. You've built something through this course. You've studied these competencies. You've seen them in action. You've started to develop them in yourself. Now, trust that process. Let go of the need to perform the competencies perfectly. Instead, focus on being fully present with your client. That's where integration lives. Trust me, it comes together. So here's what I want you to take away from this. All 8 competencies serve one purpose: facilitating your client's growth and transformation. When you serve your client fully, when that's your only agenda, the competencies flow together naturally. You don't need to think about them. They emerge through your presence. So if competencies flow together rather than march in sequence, how does a coaching conversation actually unfold? Let's look at the natural arc of a coaching session, where certain competencies tend to show up while always remaining fluid.